All right, hey guys, Jason here, Sam Coach Hadbo. Today we're going to be talking about broadheads. Got a lot of broadheads laid out here, and I got a lot of them. We're kind of just doing some inventory, things like that. But we want to talk about what broadhead is going to work best for you and how you can change certain broadheads but can't change other ones, okay? So, as you can see, we got a bunch here. Okay, this is pretty much everything I got left. I sold so many of my Magnus heads that this is what I'm down to now is what we have here. But and then I got a ton of the A. Boyer heads, because remember there was a time when A. Boyer was going, they weren't going through transitions, getting ready to be sold. They were very hard to find and not many of them available. So I got $1,000 worth of A. Boyer heads, $2,000 worth of heads here. Most of these are doubled up as 6-packs. So there's a lot of different heads here. But what is going to be the best for you? Now, you can see from my layout of all these heads, I don't have a single 3-blade or 4-blade in here. Not one. Those don't matter to me. Okay, I don't want a 3 or 4-blade. I like 2-blade, personally. Does that mean a 3-blade is bad? Not even a little bit. 3 blades are amazing. They put a tremendous hole. They work fantastic. Everybody I know that shoots them loves them, and they're fantastic. Why don't I shoot them? Because I don't want to have to sharpen 3 blades. I'd rather sharpen 2, and 2 blades fit in my quiver better than 3 blades do. So personally, I'm just not that concerned about a 3-blade broadhead. Now, does the ones that we see over here that cost tremendous amounts of money work any better than the ones that we see over here that do not? Well, yes and no. Okay, something you got to take into consideration. They do perform better, but is it mandatory? No, it is not. Everything is a trade-off here and an advantage. Now, when we're looking at these heads, we got every kind of thing that you can imagine out here, as far as if you want a skinny 3-to-1 ratio head like this amazing tough head. Right here, one of the originators of this style head with a 3-to-1 ratio. You have those in here. You got extreme 3-to-1 ratios like this Razor right here, this Razor 300 grain, okay, which is a massive head when you compare that to the 250 grain version of the Razor. They're both about the same cutting diameter, but you can see a size difference. Okay, so there's big variations in a lot of these heads. Even if you take the Magnus 2 versus a Magnus 1. Let's actually just stick these on a thing so they kind of stand up and you can see them. Like this, you can see, okay, big cutting differences in there. Okay, so everything has got a variation to it of some sort. You have the amazing Ace super heads, whatever they call them, the Ace Supers. Right here, incredible heads. You got the big A. Boyer whitetail heads. Okay, fantastic heads. Got a lot of excellent stuff on here, all right? So there's not a bad system to go with. The key is to find what you like and what works best for you. Now, what's the answer to that? You can research it till you're blue in the face, but in all reality, every single one of these heads that I have on this table has killed deer. And it kills deer just fine. And they do a fantastic job. And I don't think it matters that much. Now, I do have my preferences for what I like best, which is the stuff over here now. But the reason I won't sell these, people ask all the time, oh, sell me some of these. No, because these have worked good. I've killed more animals with this head, this Magnus 1 Classic. I've killed more animals with this than everything else I have combined. Okay, this has killed a couple hundred animals for me, flawlessly. Okay, it works incredible. Now, these other ones do the same thing. I think I'm at about 3 dozen animals with the A. Boyer heads. They worked absolutely incredible. Okay, both sizes. I like them both. I like the big bonehead and I like the wapiti. So I got a 1.5 and then a 1 1/4. And I like them both because they're single bevels. Single bevel creates a bigger hole, in my opinion. It makes a bigger hole because of the S shape to the hole as it goes in. It actually creates a bigger cut on it. So I actually really like the 1 1/4 in that size. Okay, the Razors are the ones I'm shooting now, and I like them a lot. I love the Razor head. I think that the length to width ratio of it is very good. I don't think you're giving up any extra drag time on the blades being longer, which a lot of people seem to think is great. But like on this one, there's a lot of drag on that blade as it has to go through there and a lot of energy lost in it, where with something like this, it can punch through much quicker and with much less resistance along the length of the blade. So everything has a trade-off to it. Everything is a personal opinion. Everything is a matter of splitting hairs. They're all going to do the job absolutely perfectly. Okay, and like I said, even this head right here, like these right there, my daughter took one of these heads right here when she was shooting her 24-pound compound, and she blew it through a 500 and something pound hog. I don't remember what the number is. I could look it up, but it was a ranch hog, a big feral type hog, fattest pig, biggest pig I'd ever seen. And with her 24-pound compound with a 22-inch draw, she blew one of them completely through it on a 470 grain arrow. Okay, this stuff works. Could I have used something like this, like the 3-to-1 ratio head on there for her, and made it work even better? Maybe, but I had all the faith in knowing that her setup could punch this through there. Okay, so it varies a little bit between everything, but I think they're all fantastic. Now, how do you really get to choose and set things up? Now, the razors in many heads today are going to the screw-in style head. Okay, this is a screw-in style head like razors, where it is a ferrule and it is a blade right here. Now, can you change the weight of these? Sort of yes and sort of no. Okay, what I mean by that is if you go with a 250 or a 200, the only difference, they're same exact blade, the only difference is the 200 has a titanium ferrule and a 250 has a stainless steel ferrule. So technically you could call up Razor and get extra ferrules, and then you could just swap them out if you wanted to, okay? Or if you were to buy 200s and 250s for different setups, they're gonna fly. It's the same blade, exact same blade, so it's gonna fly the same, perform the same. The reason I loved the A Boyers when I went from my Magnus, ones to an A Boyer big bonehead when I went single bevel. Why? Look at them, they're identical. It's the same head. I knew it would fly exactly perfect. I knew it would do exactly what I wanted to with no question, because it's the same exact head. And I was right, and it did. And then I fell in love with single bevels, and I love single bevels, which is why none of these really get used too much anymore, because I stick with single bevel heads is what I prefer to shoot. Does that mean that this head is inferior? No, not at all. They work flawlessly. They get the job done 100% every time, okay? They do. This whole battle of broadheads is mind-blowing. It really is. I mean, you can get by with any of them, and they are going to work good. There are some traits that I like to look for in them, okay? If they are a thin steel, like these are, you can see how thin these are, these Magnus heads. See how the ferrule in this brazing part is all triple thick head tip in there? And see how that extends up the broadhead there? That's very important, because see how far up that ferrule goes, that stamping in the middle? That provides support and rigidity in this head. This is a very tough head, even though it is thin bladed. Same with this as we look at this. See how that has that reinforcements all the way up the middle of that? That makes it a very strong, less prone to bend type of a head. That stuff matters. Now these are different, but look at how thick that steel is. Okay, it's super thick steel, so you get the strength. Same with here. Look at on this, how they extend that ferrule up there nice and high on there so that it gets that strength. I like that. A Boyer does the same. And now this one here, you might be like, oh, there's more room up there, but this is, again, super thick steel to it. Okay, so I want quality, I want them strong, I want them durable, I want a robust system that's going to work really good, and it's going to be able to hold an edge well. If it's a single bevel, if these other ones like these, if they don't hold an edge that well, I'm okay with that too, because they only got to cut for a fifth of a second is all it's got to do this job for. 1/5 of a second. As it blows through the animal. It's all it needs to be sharp for. After that, I don't care. So I'm not that picky about them. These are all very, very easy to sharpen. All of these simple classic style heads, super easy to sharpen. These heads here, the more modern heads today, these are much more complicated to sharpen. They are a tougher steel. You know, you got an A2 steel and heat treat in there and things like that. They're harder, but they will stay sharp longer. It means less time that I got to spend touching them up. You know, I only got to touch these up once a season in my quiver, where with these in my quiver, I have to touch these up I'd have to touch these up in there, you know, weekly, and make sure they're re-stropped and sharpened and ready to go. So everything is a trade-off. But do not think for a second that you benefit one way or the other as far as, you know, or not benefit. Let me rephrase that. Don't think for a second that you're going to be hindered by using classic proven, simple design broadheads. They are phenomenal. Now, why do I prefer, if I have all these, to use, and actually, even though I have these, like I said, A. Boyer is, I mean, in a nutshell, when we break it down, look at that big beast right there. That's that Bishop Archery, 600 grain. Look at that son of a gun right there, big head. But let's just slide this stuff over here for a second, and let's look at the reality of this. Now, knowing all this stuff, I'll be careful, a lot of these heads are sharp. Okay, we have, is that my practice one? Right there. One of these is dedicated practice. That's my practice one. That one needs to be sharpened. But, okay, this is my world now, is the razor heads. Okay, this is where I spend my time at. I like that about these a lot. Okay, I like this head in the fact that it is 1.5 inches wide. Okay, these are just a smidge under, but they're new ones right here. These are a true 1.5 inch wide. These are the new ones that I just bought a pack of them, but are 2 of these here. But these are the true 1.5 inch wide versions. Okay, these are just a smidge under 1.5. But what I like about these heads is I like the single bevel aspect. I like that arrow to twist as it goes through. I think it creates a bigger cut. I think it gets through bone better, and I think it just does the job better. So I like it. Where these heads are just going to push straight through. This head just goes right through, and I get that, and I'm, you know, and it works. This is creating a hole that's 1.5 inches wide. This one is creating a hole that's 1.5 inches wide. Win-win on both levels. Okay, they are doing a fantastic job. I love the A. Boyer heads, okay, which we have here, the A. Boyers, a lot from the fact that I can customize them. Look at this one here. Look at the, okay, we got a 125 and a 200 here. Notice the inserts that are in here. One is silver, one is black. Okay, I can use those to create the head that I want weight-wise with this. So I can take a 200 grain bonehead. I don't have any loose here, but so I can take a 200 grain broadhead and I can put it on one of these aluminum inserts and now make it a 250 grain head, which is what I shoot. Now that is 250 grains, and this is what makes this head up, is one of these and a glue-on broadhead created this 250 grain head for me. This one is only 175 grains. So I take that one and I put here and I put in there, it's 175 grains, and I put in another 75 grain adapter in here and I get 250 grains in this head. So the glue-on ones allow me to change the weight of the head to whatever I need it to be and shoot them all and let them be the same. I love that factor. Now, insert-wise, you can also change the weight of your inserts in your arrows to accommodate whatever broadhead. So say, for example, you don't have the luxury and you're not using a glue-on with a screw-in adapter type head and you need to change things out, you can change it on your arrow by changing from your inserts. This is a 100 grain brass insert. This is a 200 grain Ethics Archery stainless steel insert. This is my own created 200 grain insert that I build for my arrows. Okay, where I take 2 of these, grind the head off, and make my own out of there, and that's basically what we have there. So you can use any of these combinations to change the weight of your combo up front too, to get whatever kind of weight ratios you're looking for up front. Here's even, I think this is originally, is this Tough Head? This might be Tough Head's system where they have their own insert system and a glue-on system. It's an insert with a glue-on-able thing, and it's supposed to have a little ring in here that goes over top of that and would lock that in. But I mean, there's all kinds of systems out there that work good for you. Find the one that's best for you. That means buying a couple and test, okay? It means go out and buy yourself a little 3-pack of like razors. Go get yourself a 3-pack. These aren't made anymore, but go get yourself some Ace heads in a 3-pack. Go get yourself, don't just jump out and say, I'm going to shoot these heads from now on, and go buy 100 of them, okay, or 100 of these. Figure out what's going to work best for you. Get some 3 blades, try them. Get some single bevels, try them. Get some classic originals, the Wiki heads, they're amazing, or some Ace standards, Ace Express. Get some of these ones. Get something, get a few of these and try them. Okay, figure out, use them for a season. Shoot an animal or 2 or 3 or 4 with them. See how you're feeling, what you think of them, what they are. Then let that be the deciding factor. No, the reason all this is here is so you see that nobody should be making any decisions like this until you know what you're after. until you have some time under your belt, okay? Everybody's obsessed with broadheads and all that kind of stuff, and it's a fantastic thing. I would not hesitate for a second to spend the rest of my life hunting with these Magnus heads. I would do it all day and I'd never lose a wink of sleep about it. I'd have no problem hunting with these Magnus heads that are even narrower at 125 grains and never losing a wink of sleep about it. Okay? I would never hesitate to use either of these A. Boyer heads for the rest of my life and never lose a wink of sleep about it. I'd have 100% faith in them. Same goes for the Razor. Same goes for every single head here. But my choices for the last 20-something years were here. This is what I wanted. Okay? Then I get turned on to these, and these come out, and then this is now start. You can see these piles are 3 separate worlds. My first 8 years of hunting, okay, then the next 20 years, and now then it lasts 7 years, whatever it's been that I've been using these, okay? But don't jump the gun. Don't just take somebody's word for it, including mine. This stuff came about by testing, and I mean real world testing, not just shooting in my yard. The results of this comes from putting them through animals. Until you go putting them through your animals, your pile of broadheads should look something like this right here. Okay, this is how it should be, is a mix like what we have in the middle of this. Okay, this kind of a mixed up conglomerate of stuff here is what we should be seeing here. Okay, different varieties of heads making up your collection so that you can then fine tune from these and see which ones do what, how you like it better, what the performance you're finding is, how you're feeling about the blood trails that are coming out, how's the penetration working for you, okay, that kind of thing. Once you can dial that stuff in, then you can start to go, well, that was great, but I don't care for this one, and I'm not going to use that head. I'm not using that insert in there. I don't need it for my setup. This one's too big. This one's too big. I don't like the way it flies. This one's, I want a single, or I like single bevels better. This one's here. These are two. And then next thing you know, your pile starts to look like this, okay? This is what your pile starts to look like now, right there, okay? Narrow it down, okay? That's what we're getting at here. Fine-tune the heads by testing them. Don't just assume because one person shoots something that is the best head out there. Find what works for you, what you like. Anybody tells you a 3-blade head is bad, they're lying to you and they don't know what they're talking about. Anybody tells you that a double bevel head from the old days is old school or ancient or that's the way they used to do it or doesn't work as good, they're lying to you. These things are straight up phenomenal. They're incredible. Thousands and thousands and thousands of animals have fallen to these heads. Anybody that tells you you have to shoot a single bevel in order to kill an animal is lying to you. Do they offer an advantage? Yes. Is that advantage huge? No. Is that advantage big enough to make me want to use them? Yes. But is it a life-altering? No. But it's worth it to me. So that's what I choose to do. Again, preferences are developed from you testing in your own situations. That's the best advice I got for you. So broadheads, like I said, there is no right one. There is no wrong one. There is no one better than the other. It is only what works best for you. It is your job to figure that out. How you do that? Don't go out and buy 2 dozen of this or 2 dozen of that or 3 dozen of these. Buy a pack of 3 of one, a pack of 3 of another, pack of 3 of another. Shoot them, see what works best for you, what you like the most, what's going to fit your bill, and then you can, from there, you can assess it, okay? It's like waxing a car, okay? You buy a car and you think it's all great, and you, oh, look, the paint looks good as you walk around and look at it. You don't know what the paint's like at all until you wax the car. You can wash a car and not know what the paint's like, but when you wax a car by hand and you sit there and you go through every single inch of that vehicle, taking that wax off, and you have to go through every little, that's when you learn about it. Okay, same with a broadhead, same with that kind of stuff, same with a knife. Okay, you can't pick a knife based on something that somebody says, and you can't just go buy it and say, oh, I love it. It's until you use it, you abuse it, you beat it, and you put it through the ringer that you understand how well it sharpens, how it takes an edge, how it likes to lose an edge, how much does it take to lose an edge, what's it look like when it goes through an animal hide, how does it feel when it impacts bone, what happens when you miss and you hit a rock, and how's it do? Does it just ching the edge where you can take it off with a, on your belt sander, or does it bend the blade? What happens? Okay, the only way to know that is to test it. My best advice for you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.